Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Things are about to get a whole lot cooler around here. And just like the message, we got a cool side and a warm side. Check out the arcana I unearthed. Say hello to my little friend. Not the Dewclaw. He's still MIA. The call of the void is strong. It reminds me of that time we went down to the States, got some of that sweet, cheap milk. All growth hormone induced. Had a whole cooler of her coming back. We don't need no extra ice. We'll be fine, baby doll. Got home. It was all curdled like a fat lady in pink Lululemons. I turned to baby doll and says to her, "Baby doll, this is an utter disaster." I got about the same reaction out of her. A little girthy for the workbench. Might be about time to clean. Winter is coming. That cork stuffer. Not so much heavy, but encumbrance and time. From the local scumbags, this was nigh on 800 Kanakistan Kopecks. Greenbacks, mind, that's a little over a half a cigarette butt and a juicy fart in a windstorm. Comes with an adapter. Oh, for the car as well. That's smart. I was looking for the Yeti sign. I outlasted them, however. Nobody was buying the things and they went on half price. So I bought it with the money I saved. We're going to see how it works. I'm assuming it has a Peltier module, or the opposite of the Peltier. Commonly and very understandably misnomered as the Peltier effect. It's actually the opposite of that. It's the Seebeck effect, wherein you force angry pixies through one of these Seebeck modules and it cools or alternately heats on the other side of the Seebeck module. However, it's well known as a Peltier module, which is the opposite, where you physically induce a difference of temperature and it gives you current rather than pushing current in and it gives you a temperature differential. You see what I'm saying? But if you call it a Seebeck module, nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. Which is exactly... I'm already feeling good about this. Camping season is upon us. Look at the hinges. Metal. And a nice low durometer Buna N fitment. That'll seal up real nice. Doesn't too smell bad. China. Got the Canadian Enter Guide. Super concerned about that. And then the other side, the battery compartment. Look at this. Brilliant. Look at this. So smart. You put the drink holders on the side, which you never open. It never fails, but you set your drink down. Somebody's got to get in there with their big mitts and scoop up a hot Dickens cider. Also, the USB charger built in. And this takes... yeah, it takes 2 batteries, so we're running on 40 volts thereabouts. It's quite a small compartment, but I mean, how many beers can you drink in an afternoon? Don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question. Look at the hinges on that cork stuffer. Yeah, that'll do. Not seeing too many fasteners. What for getting under petticoats? No moving parts, except the one, you know, the fan. But other than that, there's no moving parts. It's a grill. So we got to get in from the inside. There's a couple fasteners on the battery terminals and a couple, I wouldn't do anything. Taking the back panel off. Nice eye for detail. Look at this. So here's some rubber bumpers. They're molded, urethane, but also a spacer. So you can't crush it right down to nothing. And it's soft enough so it won't scuff everywhere. Very nice attention to detail. Fuck me running. Look at this. I already did the other side. You got a valence here. Make it pretty. It's not even a skateboard bearing. Something bigger. Skookumer. Incredible to actually have a bearing in there and not just a plastic bushing is incredible. I think built for speed. That's a hefty wheel too. Delrin looks like high dimensional stability, good abrasion resistance. That's an expensive part. And then molded, overmolded. Probably some TPS. There's no markings on it. Wow. Look at this. A bronze bush. The last time you saw a bronze bush in a cooler. Hold on a second. I can scarcely believe my eyes. Is that a pressure vessel? That means there's a proper refrigeration unit in here. This might actually work. It's a fridge. A proper fridge. Oh, I better mark those so I don't get them wrong. That's the DC in. There's the receiver tank for the refrigerant, not 34A. It's 1234YF, which is the new refrigerant, automotive refrigerant. Honeywell and DuPont, 11 herbs and spices. Essentially the same thing, but it's instead of killing ozone, it just kills you. Yet to be determined, of course. Don't take this for medical advice. I would refrain from huffing it until further notice. Wild. Nice cable routing. No messing around there. Nice heavy shield. This valence is on there to protect all the electrical stuff from getting kicked. Especially for a job site cooler, these can get thundered quick, fast, in a hurry. Let's bop you down there on the tripod and we'll have a goodly look. On the brain box, it looks complicated, but it ain't. If you ever have trouble with it, just find the shit stain and try and replace that component if and you can get it. See, for the main switching, we got a couple of ka-chunk relays, DC relays. These are rated for DC and they have to be beefier because the voltage on AC goes through zero. So when you're braking, at some point you have zero and it breaks its own arc. But the DC doesn't do that. So you need quite a bit more skookum contacts in a DC relay. Two of them, ka-chunkers. Here's the brain box itself. Microcontroller rather. This would be some sort of Japanese, maybe Toshiba or something spun up in Japan. The Japanese tend to be quite loyal to their own countrymen. I know that's a dirty word, but a bunch of FETs here just for switching, whole bunch of diodes here probably to control the flyback of this linear, well, you can't see it, of this linear compressor motor. It's the same kind of motor, what doesn't seem to be as reliable as the old fridges, kind of engineered to fail after 10 years. But this is a linear compressor, takes coolant. Let's see, I'll try and remember some refrigeration. Let me think about this. Unzo! The modern refrigeration cycle This is how it works. Do not rely on this for challenging your journeyman Red Seal IP. It's just the facts, ma'am. Modern refrigeration relies on condensing and evaporating a fluid. And that fluid is refrigerant. It's selected for the perfect Goldilocks amount of properties wherein it evaporates at the right temperature and it condenses at the right temperature, and it also takes a lot of energy in order to do that. So that's why you get all these kind of weird, you can use propane as a refrigerant, but it doesn't work as well as the fluorocarbons. This R124 is an unpronounceable molecule of fluorocarbon that apparently does not kill the ozone layer. However, not only did I survive the Mayan apocalypse, I also survived the hole in the ozone layer, so the models sometimes don't work. Speaking of, here's my mental model of how the refrigerant works. So we have a high pressure liquid, which goes through a tiny orifice valve, turns into a low pressure liquid, which then goes into the evaporator. The evaporator is like the radiator in your car, only in reverse. What it does is it takes that liquid and it evaporates. So it draws heat out from the inside of the refrigerator. It takes that heat out of whatever's in there in order to evaporate the refrigerant. Now, the refrigerant through the radiator is a gas, a low pressure gas. Then it goes to the compressor. That linear motor compressor is not but a solenoid shaken back and forth with a couple of reed valves sealing. It's essentially an engine, only it only chooches to and fro. Instead of a regular motor, what turns and then you need to turn that into a reciprocal motion, it's just reciprocal right off the hop. It's a solenoid, back and forth, in and out, in and out. So what that does is it turns the refrigerant into a high pressure gas. Then that high pressure gas goes into the condenser coil, which is another radiator, but now it exhausts its heat to the atmosphere. And that is why when you put your hand at the back of a refrigerator, it's warm, because you are taking the heat out of the refrigerator and pumping it into the air. So that condenser then extracts the heat from the refrigerant and it condenses down back into a liquid. Now, on the outlet of the condenser, you have high pressure fluid again, which goes back into your receiver tank. And that's essentially it. All the cooling that you get, the energy is provided by the angry pixies in the batteries. And what's drawing in and out the heat, what's exhausting heat and drawing in heat, is the change in state, the change in phase of the refrigerant, going from a liquid to a gas and going from a gas to a liquid. But I just wanted to explain that is also why you can't run these upside down, which is of consideration for a mobile apparatus such as this. Because there is a liquid in that receiver, if you turn it upside right, it ain't gonna, hey, we got a 5 and a 4 ampere hour. $60C, no thank you. There we go. That's more like it. 10C. We do minus 5C. Okay. Anytime. Normally I joke it's whisper quiet, but in this case it is whisper quiet. There's nothing in there. Let's put a little thermal mass. Some chunks of aluminum. Furtherwise, if anyone was doubting that I live in the frozen shithole of Hoth, middle of June, 14 degrees C, which happens to be about that many Frankenstein. I got a timer here. I'm going to see how long it takes, and if it can, freeze a cup of water. Of course, you get a 6-pack or some beer in there, they're already cold. But the problem with those Pelche coolers is they wouldn't cool for fuck all if it wasn't already frozen cock stiff. It's just what, not enough chooch. However, we're going to see with the proper compressor on battery power if it'll do it. And it might be, any tool what's got batteries, the bottleneck is invariably the battery. So we could plug this in, but then it's just a fridge. We're going to try and freeze this. Oh, and it's got a light. Oh, for frog snacks. You beautiful Japanese bastards. Bring a tear to my eye. Smart.
About 50 dB.
Holy old fuck. I just sat down to have some rainbow soup and there it is. Gone. 2 hours in the difference. -9. Let's see. 9. And the batteries. Still chooching. That 4 is down to 1 bar. Hello. Hello. Well, it's chilly. Can you do the hot swap? That is, take one battery out. And second, which one's which? Is this one nothing? Oh. Fuck, it's beeping. It's beeping. By the Christ. Oh, you can hot swap. Fantastic. As you witnessed, we found a chink in the armor. That is something the Japanese didn't think of. Not a worry, partner. We can fix that. But in the next iteration, I would appreciate some labels. It says -8 degrees science, but the thermocouple says otherwise 0. That's betwixt the 2 pieces of aluminum. I might just need some more time. Mash. Why? You're likely not rolling what I'm smoking, but I'm a little bit on account of a little reticent to give propers to a filthy tool company. But in this case, this thing, clean lines, well built, no effing around. I really like it. And the best part is, well, maybe not the best part, but this thing apparently will go swing the other way like a barn door. AC/DC. It'll heat up your burrito up to 60, which is a piping hot burrito in your mouth hole. That's a beautiful hot lunch. Only thing better is a hot supper. Not that I'd know. I'm not much of a one for BJ's. They hurt my jaw. Little joke there. It's just us girls here. I don't know. Mash. Not self-explanatory. I want to get the heater going. Okay, let's go up to 60. It's supposed to go up to 60. And I would assume that it has a heating element built in rather than some convoluted way to heat pump this in reverse and, a little Uncle Donnie reverse action. In this case, it's far simpler just to heat up a resistive element. So, yeah. Let's see how that do. Anytime now. Well, I apologize for yelling at you. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. Got to listen to music. No, I messed up the audio levels. And, there's a new guy on the boom mic. The writer's strike. That's hotter. Beautiful hot. Battery still got power. Now that is cold. but getting warmer. And you can see it's sweating a little bit. So that would take a while. You put a frozen burrito in there and by lunchtime it'd probably be warm enough. But that is getting hot. Previous generations of the plug-in cooler just didn't have what it took because they didn't have a proper refrigeration compressor. Here, laid out before you in all its glory, is a proper refrigeration compressor. Now we're two, there you be. This thing is fantastic. However, the proof in the pudding is in the eating of the currants. I will gladly voluntold to test this thing out in the field. We'll stick some beers in there for the camping this weekend, and I'll get back to you. Tappy tap tap. Thanks for watching. Keep your dick in some ice. We're almost out of these fine adjustment hammers. The end of your Ticonderoga. Fantastic for whacking errant knuckles, trying to touch your keyboard and so forth. Baby doll's giving me the stink eye. Summer's always tight for cash flow. So, if you got some spare filthy lucre, pick yourself up one of these. We also got the stickers. Funny as shit. Good for friends, good for giving away, good for sticking on your cooler. I appreciate your help, as always, and enjoy sharing a laugh with you in your shop. Thank you very much. There's a link in the doobly-doo.